Testing. 1, 2, 3. If you're out there in YouTube land and you've checked in, let me know if you can hear me. We're going to do a hurricane watch along with those of you who want to join. So much is happening on the island. A lot is happening. Reading a lot of news this morning about what's transpiring. Watching videos, watching TV stations, both home and abroad. Not a pretty picture. And this is going to sound very bad, but I think it's going to be worse than we think it is. Just observing what's transpiring. I mean, Kingston and St. Andrew look like they've been literally speared. Bless up Juras. Yes. Bless up Chorus Corn. And by the way, people, if you're in Jamaica and if you can call into the number on the screen, especially if you're in the south. I know that electricity is out in some areas. And I'm here watching different channels, see what's transpiring. You know what? I should just turn on another one and just get the news from different places. But it's in most places a lot of wind and water, but some areas they're showing in like Black River is ugly. Extremely ugly. Not a good look at all. So let's hope the speed picks up, because as many of you know, it's going at a very slow rate, and it's much more destructive when it's going slowly, right? You want it to just go fast, do what it does and move on, but it doesn't want to obey that way of operating. Very slow, very deliberate, very angry, and not pretty. So it looks like the South is going to get the brunt of this. That's where it's supposed to be hitting land and doing its destruction. Let's hope the destruction is not what it appears to be. I'm just trying to find different channels that has information. Now, if you look at say Crossroads, for example, Harper Tree. Nothing happened at Harper Tree. Let me turn this down. You see that? Nothing happened at Harper Tree. It's a lot of wind and noise. That's the halfway tree location. Ain't nothing happening there. That's Kingston. There's not much happening. As you move south, it's a different story. The chorus said picks up wind at 11 miles an hour. Yeah, it's doing a lot, actually. Let's hope you're checking with the family, and let's hope that they're safe. I'm trying to find some more channels that will have this.
Ready to lose the hat and regrow the hair?
All right, stop that nonsense.
With Choose by Hims, you can regain your hair and your confidence.
See if you can find some more channels. I don't know what's happening to this thing. So have everybody checked in with their families, and if you're in the States or any other region and you're okay. Bless up Odell. Odell, you're still in Jamaica. How's it going? Oh, Starlink. So you're saying we should thank Musk? Is that what you're saying? So we should thank Musk, huh? If you have Starlink, you're good enough, because work I know. There's no connection. You don't have to worry about any online connection. It's just satellite beaming down. Juras, the family good. Yeah, but if you're in Kingston, Odell, things good, man. I don't have no issue. You probably can't go up on the road the way things look. There's get some rain and some wind. And then I suffer. People, I'm not St. Elizabeth. I think they probably should have evacuated the whole St. Elizabeth area. You know? That may seem a little bit drastic, but the way it was prognosticated and the way it's working out, it appears they should have went, because roofs are being destroyed, which leaving people exposed. So, yeah. Yeah, some of those houses are not, they're board houses, they're not built the strongest. They have zinc roofs. That ain't gonna take too long for it to dissipate and to break up. It's not a good thing. No, I'm trying to find. If you guys can send me where the cameras are, now go find them. And I don't. I had something this morning from Montego Bay, but that's what this morning, which was actually a little bit worse than this was this morning in Montego Bay about 11:50 a.m. Right? It was a little bit more more windy and more treacherous looking. So if you can point me to a cam, I couldn't find the cam in the St. Elizabeth area. Oh my God. Oh no. I'm looking at some neighborhood. I swear this is 10 times worse than I thought it would be in terms of the flooding. If you have TVJ, yeah, I hope people have moved out of those neighborhoods. Yeah, the eastern side of the island is fine. If you're in Kingston and St. Andrew, you're good, and Portmore. If you're in St. Elizabeth, going all the way down to Westmoreland and back on Montego Bay, it's ugly. Very ugly. They're showing you some of the flooding. It's brutal. But this was Montego Bay this morning. A lot of wind, a lot of trees blowing. These trees will not take a hurricane hitting it full flow at all, actually. You can hear from this picture, there's a lot of wind, actually. I can't do a split screen because I don't have that capability. One is a feed and one is a video that I picked up this morning. But this is not looking good at all. I hope people are real. The question is, can people move if they feel in danger? That's the question. Because if somebody's flooding, you can't walk, actually. I mean, they did predict massive flooding, and the drainage systems are not the greatest, that's for sure. And even with drainage system, it still would be challenged. The one thing, though, we're not seeing a lot of people on the road, in fact, very little, which is good. So people have heeded the warning. I saw maybe one or two people walking in off a tree. They didn't seem of sound mind, so. Bless up, Dr. Don. Yeah, I'm not surprised about that. It'd not be pretty when they're finished reviewing what happened in St. Elizabeth, just to be, not to create extra anxiety, but you're in Jamaica. You must be in Kingston, Dr. Don. Are you in Kingston? Yeah, Jay. I mean, if you look at half a tree, yeah, it's not a big deal. Yep. Yeah, Kingston has lucked out and it's missed them, so they've been lucky. Very lucky. Okay. So why you say you're in JA chilling? I don't understand that. I'm confused. I thought Port Royal was okay. I didn't hear anything bad about Port Royal. I know there was some discussion about that the other day. Yesterday or the day before. It's St. Elizabeth you hear all the discussions about. A lot of discussions about St. Elizabeth. A lot of discussions. Now we're seeing some pictures from St. Elizabeth. I can't. Anybody know where you can get a cam from St. Elizabeth? Then again, I'm not sure it's going to be able to serve. The cam will be able to survive anyway. Yeah, they did, and St. Elizabeth may still be, but it did miss Kingston. I don't know if it's hyped up. I think the trajectory of the hurricane changes over time. So they can truly predict exactly. They can predict it based on its current movement. But as you know, these things don't move in the same direction as, I don't know what affects them, but they don't move as you may anticipate sometimes. Well, we need a match postponed, Chorus. We need more time to get our players some playing time. So I'm not sure postponing the match is the worst thing for Jamaica. But then again, a lot of players are outside of Jamaica, so they can still train. Most of them, maybe one or two in Jamaica, like angling. Yeah, Owen. I agree with that sentiment. Yeah, but I think St. Andrew is probably going to be okay in general in Kingston. Yeah, that's the bad thing, actually, which is patients can't move, right? So if it's damaged and it's going to be a continuum and it's moving slowly, there's not going to be much relief, and nobody can go help them because you can't really move. Yeah, I know they have a match in Trinidad. I don't think it's on, but who's Jamaican gonna watch no match in Trinidad? They may not have the ability to watch a match. Yep. Bermuda have more time to prepare, that's for sure. I saw Wavell Hines was on earlier. He has a district in St. Elizabeth. He was saying that they've heard of no loss of life. He was on about maybe an hour ago or 45 minutes ago. So, yeah. Maybe I'll call one of these. Don't they have these stations on, like KLS? Maybe I'll call them while I'm on. Maybe I will call them while I'm on. Let me see if I can get through to them, actually. And see if they would have any more updates that we don't have. If I go back to halfway tree, see? See, nothing happening halfway tree. That's halfway tree people. Nothing happening halfway tree. I mean, there's some water and wind. And quite a bit of it, but it's nothing happened there. The video I was showing earlier was at Montego Bay late this morning. Let's see if I can call this number. I'm trying to call KLAS people, the sports channel. Yeah, Kingston is good. Nobody's picking up. D says, Kranky laptop is a little bit. What are your thoughts on TNT PM seem to pull away from CARICOM? Good question. I don't know what's driving that, actually. I think their individual, he's aligned with Trump also. He was supporting Trump about some of his decisions made in terms of annihilating so-called supposed drug dealers. So I think Trinidad have some financial challenges. I mean, for an oil-rich country that was oil-rich for years, crime and all that is not going well. So who knows what's the motivation for him pulling away. But the first question is CARICOM effective? And is CARICOM serving the needs and what is the aspirations of people in the region. And if not, does it need to be reconstituted? I think Jamaica, Guyana, and Barbados seem to be
There's a growing
linkage
interest
there,
in
and there's
socialism among
give me
young
1 second,
people in
people.
America. But do they know about its dismal past in history?
Seems to be some linkage there. You know, obviously Guyana has the oil nowadays, so they'll have more input and say, but not sure what the rationale is for that actually. Probably need to do some more research to see what's driving that decision. But everyone wants to be aligned with Trump. Or they feel the strong man. If they align with him, they get benefit. Argentina did that, and he's getting bailed out. Even though I'm not sure anybody can bail out Argentina. So they got 20 billion. It may have been 40 billion they got. They won some re-election. So alignment with Trump for some people may be a good thing. Yeah. Yeah, Kingston is good, but you can't say the same for St. Elizabeth. St. Elizabeth is not good. As I said, this was Montego Bay this morning. I'm still running this video. Earlier, I was showing you live in Halfway Tree, Kingston. But at least the well, a lot of the stations, the TV stations, they're in Kingston, aren't they? So they're not affected. But I think people have set themselves up to broadcast as long as they can broadcast if their systems are up. And in Kingston, I'm sure it would be. And they're getting feeds from different parts of the island. So there's sections of the Black River Hospital has been damaged by Melissa so far. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they have been that way for a while, haven't they? Argentina's been that way for a while. And they can't figure their way out of it, right? Which means that they have poor leadership. Well, half of Guyana is also Indian, right? So it's interesting thing about Guyana and Trinidad, there's always that, and it shows you how race plays into any environment, you know, especially when the population is almost evenly divided. But you've had that, even Guyana now, it's a big deal, right? The government is run by people inside the Indian component of the island, and a lot of blacks are not happy and vice versa. So not a good thing. What do you mean you're newly elected congressman? Who are you talking about, Dr. Dan? I thought it was only one person you elected, the lady from Arizona. Yeah, Argentina has issues as a country. Never-ending issues. It's a continuum. Like a lot of South American countries. I'm looking at pictures both on a couple of TV stations in Jamaica. They're showing you places. Still getting pictures from. I don't have a link to anything in St. Elizabeth, which is where the action is, frankly. Which is where you want to see. Let me take off this morning picture and put more half a tree here and then try to figure out a way. Let me go online and try to find something from St. Elizabeth. Because a lot of stations, people just talking, right? They're not. You see something here. See something here about Jamaica Eye, whatever it is. I'm gonna try to go on YouTube and find something. I'm gonna get myself in trouble with this. How come we have fire truck in this weather? Oh Lord, that's not good. Fire truck in this weather is not good. Sorry people, I'm trying to find site here. Okay. All right, people, I gotta play this out and see if I can get. Okay, let me take this off. Oh, this is a multicam. Okay, let me do this. Let me take this off. Let me try to find how to pull this up. Wow. Oh my Lord. I just see a roof get taking off, people. A whole roof for the entire roof just got dismissed for a building which looks secure. This is ugly. The entire roof got taken off. Wow. This is not pretty. Not pretty at all. So let me just see something. So this is a multicam view. This is like mainly Kingston, though. We're seeing, yeah, it's mainly Kingston. Different parts of Kingston. This is not St. Elizabeth. I'm trying to find something in St. Elizabeth. That's more difficult to do. This is not St. Elizabeth. I think I'm just trying to figure out where these locations are. So we see West Parade. It's mainly Kingston areas, aren't they? Hey, 1-1, how you doing? Well, I think some people believe they would have been okay if they're in a building which seems secure. If you just saw what I saw, I'm not sure if you guys are watching the same thing where an entire roof was just taken off and dispatched, and it was looked like a pretty secure building, and I'm not sure what's secure. It may have been that. I don't know how you withstand such force. Actually, as I said, I think they should have evacuated that entire St. Elizabeth region. I'm telling you. If you think of Category 5 and the devastation being predicted, and some people say it's false, I think they should have moved all those people, relocated them. It's very, very dangerous. Well, maybe Flatbridge needs to go. I hate to say that, but they've been playing with Flatbridge for years. Bring the Chinese in to build something that works. Yeah, 1-1. We all are actually.
Are you wearing 7 layers? And
you consider that lucky?
Really?
You need the new 340.
Just the West Coast? I don't view it that way. Oh man, he took off that thing. Let me take this down and go back to my previous thing. He took off the multicam. Let me go find that video again. See Jamaica. I don't know why he took that down. Okay, Melissa, I'm on the camera. I need St. Elizabeth videos. Look at that water, though. That water is ugly. I don't know. I think it's a good question. I'm sure you can build something that goes straight across versus something that is that you don't need that flat bridge. Flat bridge need to go. They can build a better bridge. Well, people have to take that highway now. I know, right? Probably forced to take the highway, don't it? But then you gotta avoid certain areas. So paying $30 from St. Anne to Kingston is not a good deal at all. And the problem is in Elizabeth, too, people, given the devastation, all the communication devices and electricity, hopefully people's phones are charged and they have satellite link, Starlink. I guess Starlink does come into play. You need that now versus traditional cell phone towers and services because those are going to get knocked out. All eyes on Jamaica, Ted Dexter. All eyes, yes. Jamaica is for the wrong reason. Eyes of the world are in Jamaica, not for the right reason, to be honest. Given the devastation predicted, especially on the South Coast. So if you're in Westmoreland, if you're in St. Elizabeth, if you're in Montego Bay, so south and west is not looking pretty. St. Elizabeth is going to be probably the most devastated of all. Not a good thing. If you're in Jamaica, people, and you want to call in, the number is on the screen, and you have insights and perspective, and you have update information. I'd love to hear you. So you see the number. If you're gonna run the battery, don't call though. But if you have battery and if you have electricity and you can charge your phone and you can speak, then feel free to do so. Especially if you're out west.
If you are sleeping in a position like this, you are wrecking your body and your breathing. Obstructive sleep apnea happens when your upper air.
Wow. All this advertisement. Wow. And then it cancels out. I need a multicam view. Let me take this down. I need the multicam view. I guess the multicam view clicks out. If I just do Kingston, I have a 3. It's much easier. Trying to find a better feed, people. Seen a lot of view from 7 hours ago, 6 hours ago. Camera is getting knocked out in some areas. This is very, very ugly. Yep, camera getting knocked out. Yeah, I'm sure some are down. No, come on, gang stalking. I'm sure some things are possible, but I'm not going with that conspiracy theory. Yeah, Jay, saw that, Jay. I mean, and some of these houses look pretty sturdy, but roofs are nailed on and can be taken off. And I see somebody coming from Negril reporting into TV, Jay, and she's outside too. A lot of wind, but Negril is not. There's damage reported in Westmoreland. Don't know what the damage totality of the damage entail. What does that mean, DC? Elaborate. Yeah, Jay, the hospital is damaged. And the question for the hospital is, what does that mean actually for the hospital? Are patients affected? Is it all the roofs? Oh my Lord. I'm looking at a picture here. Wow. This is worse than I thought. We had like 5 or 6 buildings in a row with no roofs. The roofs seem to be the most susceptible part. Like people's homes, the roof's just gone and it's wide open. How you can't even stay in that house? I don't know how that works. Like these are brick buildings. Obviously, the roofs are not. They're probably zinc roofs or not the most sturdy roofs. Yeah, you're seeing a lot of buildings with no roofs actually. So then, what do you do then? You can't go out in the weather. It's not a pretty picture. Yeah. Man, do you know how much billions of dollars it's going to cost to repair all of this? And potential loss of lives? This is awful. Oh, okay. No, that's not totally true. CNN had on Brogard last night. The Prime Minister was on CNN last night, and he explained what they were doing. Even though when Ketterer came on, he was saying some of the shelters didn't have any food. But I'm sure the PMP wished that this took place. Not that anybody wanted this to happen, but if it happened, it's going to take place earlier because these things normally don't work out well for the people in power, no matter how much they try to do things the right way. I'm looking at some of the flooding, people. It's ridiculous. It's like a whole river passing through a neighborhood. I'm looking at a home now, and the water coming down past the home. The walls are standing still, but the water looked like it's just wanna. Man, wow! And it's going fast too. It's not like the water is going slowly. It has significant force because the wind is pushing it. Uh-oh. I hope that this station is not knocked out. I lost coverage. Commentator saying she would be screaming because saw the video with the water pouring away. Screaming gonna do? You gotta find a way solutions. Yep. Yep. And if you have zinc on your roof, that ain't doing it, people. Yeah, but how much help the Jamaicans gonna be giving? You think they're gonna give us 20 billion that they gave Argentina? That would do it. Okay.
Do you really want to make your holiday special? Tanzania
I don't want to make my holiday
so
special. Get off my TV.
From the famous Serengeti National.
Yeah, my CVM conked out. I don't know what happened, people. He just disappeared. I hope CVM is still on the air. Just conked out. Maybe it's not CDM. Maybe it's but the system I'm using. I gotta go to another system. The heck happened? I don't know what happened to my one of my systems, but it's no longer working. Let me see what we're seeing in some other. Let me try some other networks actually, like US Network, and see what they're saying. Because a number of them are in Jamaica or have people in Jamaica. Nope. No CBS, no NBC. Yeah, it's not as bad as I thought it would be, frankly, because people think this is an opportune time to steal and to plunge and do what they do. But there have been some things the police have reported. Stet's roof went off, and the problem, people, when the roof goes off, everything else is because it's blowing. Everything else may get destroyed between the water and the wind. Yeah, but even good draining system would be challenged. But you're right, draining system would help. Draining system is not the it's not the norm, that's for sure. Let me try if you can find CNN. They should have something. Trying to find CNN here. Yep, CNN does have the storm. Yep, and they're showing Kingston. Nobody wants to see Kingston, CNN. It's saying one of the strongest hurricanes ever. It's not saying just the strongest hurricane that hit Jamaica. It's one of the strongest ever, which suggests, and all those cars, if you're an insurance company in Jamaica who hate to pay in the first place, not because, bless up Christmas, not because you have insurance, people come in, you're covered. Most people in Jamaica don't have insurance for their houses. And even though they have car insurance, those insurance companies don't like to pay up. There's a lot of flooding. They may just call it acts of nature and don't want to pay people. That's not good. Yeah, that water is powerful. I'm just showing you water. Can put a lot of pressure on even bridges and everything else that are out there. No matter how well something's buttoned down, if the earth gets uprooted, it's a problem. They're showing you some of the roads which are impassable. You can't pass them because trees are falling on across the roads. It's a lot of cleanup after this, people. Yep, it's probably worse than Gilbert. Well, I suggest people you get your pocketbooks out if you're not in Jamaica, if you're overseas. You have your relatives out, and you have to dig deeper than normal. That 18 billion of repatriation may have to be jumped to like 36 billion. You got double that, triple that money, and quadruple that money. Good question, Dr. Don. Not a good outcome for them, especially the ones who are caged up. Oh, so if you're solar panel people, and you know what? I'm gonna call a friend of mine. I'm gonna text her. I know she's in St. Elizabeth and she got solar. She's not in Jamaica now, but let's see if her actually check if her solar panel is on. She has solar panel on her roof. Hmm. And her house is close to the sea, so that's not good. No, I'm giving directly to people. I'm not giving to no government. If I'm giving directly to people. I ain't giving no government. Sorry. I don't want to cause aspersion on anybody, but I'm not give that away there. I'm not give to organization. I give to individuals. Bless up float. I'm not saying you shouldn't do, by the way. I'm not causing aspersion on anybody. But I believe for the money to get directly to its source, organizations always have to take something off the top to for administration. I prefer to go directly to people and give them so they can do something. So I got a text back saying I can't tell because the Wi-Fi is out. Oh wow. You know what's gonna happen, people? A lot of people are gonna get rid of their traditional phone, phone company and get Starlink. I'm telling you. After this, when Starlink people start saying they have service and phone doesn't, they're not gonna be, it's gonna be a challenge for traditional cell phone networks. Yeah, I give directly to people. I'm very reluctant to give to organizations. I just, not anybody not to, but yeah. Yeah. And by the way, people, I'm not saying you shouldn't give to organizations. Don't quote me saying that. I just prefer to give to those who may need it directly versus some organizations need to do something. So yeah, I mean, I think Odell say, hey, Odell, listening on. I think Odell say he has Starlink, and because he has Starlink, he's not depending upon the traditional phone companies. Which I think a lot of people after this will say, you know what? Why would I deal with a traditional phone company when they're susceptible to these type of things? Yep. I'm looking at St. Thomas. There's a lot of, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take pictures and just post them while I'm here. Seeing pictures in St. Thomas. So even in areas where they don't feel the brunt of the storm, they it's not a good thing. It's still challenged. Still challenged. Let me crop this. See if I can pull this up. The hell? I don't know what the hell I just did. I am having some challenges. Oh, let me get rid of this, people. I don't know what the hell that came from. I apologize. Oh, Lord, I get rid of myself? No, I didn't. I'm still here. CNN gone to immigration crackdown. So CNN have enough of Jamaica. They have moved on. We go find somebody else who's still interested in us. Yeah, I'm gonna try to find BBC. They're always interested in what's happening across the world, unlike the US, who just think about profit. BBC America, what are they saying? Nope, they're not doing that either. So I'm looking at, wow, St. Thomas, people are trying to get food and have long lines. Jamaica gonna need a lot of support, people. A lot of support. A lot of support. A lot of support from all sort of organizations. I know ABC has a feed, but ABC feed is from Montego Bay, isn't it? They had a feed from Montego Bay, but it's just a feed close to a hotel, and that's the one I was showing earlier today. This feed from Crossroads is not. I'm sorry, Hypertree is not doing anything. But I was like, so Kranky, what's up with all the media coverage? We did see this in Jamaica last time. No, there's a lot of media coverage actually, probably more than we need. A lot of international news organizations are in Jamaica. No, they were talking about immigration. Here's my view on that, people. So they say 14 people get killed in the Pacific. I think that's why that general who was black, Admiral, resigned, because he realized that at some future point in time, that you could be charged for murder. When you're in the military, if you're given a command by a commanding officer, and that command may not be appropriate, and it's very difficult to discern because you could get court-martialed if you disobey a command. But somebody go actually kill somebody and it's not the right thing to do, and you do it, you run the risk of being subsequently persecuted at some future point in time. You can't just kill. We don't just kill. So if a drug dealer in America is dealing drugs, you don't just kill them, right? You arrest them. They go through a due process. But because these are black and brown people have been desensitized to this. So they don't really care. They've been desensitized. So if it's a black life or a brown life, who cares? So the American population and a lot of the world have been, even people who are black and brown are desensitized to the killing of people who look like them. We have made it in this world where if you're Caucasian, if this was happening to some Caucasian in the Pacific, all hell would break loose. Europe, even Asia, the US would lose their mind. If some black country was blowing up some Caucasian underwater and saying that they're bringing drugs into their country, they would lose their minds. Okay, Balakik. Yeah, so it's really interesting to see this happening, and Trump is saying he can't just kill people because he's immune from prosecution. So, and the world court ain't gonna try him. Doesn't really matter because America can do what he wants to do. It's really interesting. No, it has to do with color. They ain't bombing no white people. Stop that, MF. Stop your nonsense. Don't say that. Tell me which white country get bombed by the U.S. It's black, brown people who get bombed. Whether it's in Gaza, whether it's in Africa, whether it's in South America, it ain't no Caucasian that happening to. There's only to be bringing in South Africans here who say have been persecuted by blacks in South Africa because a few of them got killed because they're farmers, and people in South Africa get killed all the time through robbery and crime. Don't you see that? What are we talking about? It can get nothing to do with that. Stop it. No, they're not the police. At least the police should have some sense of integrity and some sense of humanity. They ain't the police. They're something else. We're focused on Jamaica today. We're going to talk about some, yeah. Okay, we can't communicate, MF. You're right, MF. You're right. Whatever you're saying, you're right. I'm wrong. You're right. You know it all. Yeah, but whites don't consider Hispanic whites. That's the difference, Crispy. Some do, and some are in a sense, because a lot of them migrated from Spain or their ancestors from Spain. But whites don't consider them whites. Yeah, so yeah, Jay, and so did a lot of Libyans too. And so did a lot of Egyptians, and so did a lot of, that's how it is. The only life that matters is the ones who are Caucasian and some Asians. Other lives don't matter. It's a fact. And we can, and MF can debate this all he wants and come up with this conspiracy theory about who's fueling war in Ukraine. Yeah. You guys live in this world which I don't want to be of. Yeah, not sure. And by the way, Jay, that war was bullshit. Let me just say that out loud, people. That war was about oil. And they made up, and even Colin Powell, who I met actually, and who's a nice gentleman, he has to bear responsibility for it. I know he's gone now, but he was part of the problem. Yeah, MF, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right, MF. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Living your own little world. You're right. I don't know anything. You're right. What do you mean, Chris P? I can't have the conversation with some of you guys. I just can't. I cannot have the conversation. Let's focus on the hurricane. I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole. Everybody have their own opinion. You all have your source of news. Do your thing. Not going down a rabbit hole. Let's focus on Jamaica. We have a common cause here. Not focusing on world event. We'll get killed in Pacific or Caribbean Sea or whatever, and we'll get killed in Middle East. You guys are right. Oh, Lord. Last country for Operation Clean Break to be completed is Iran. I don't know what that means. What does that mean, Jay? What does that mean, Jay? Somebody just text me this. Part of Savlamar hospital roof, they use the word migrate. So the hospitals both in St. Elizabeth and Savlamar are having issues. No, because I can't argue with nonsense. That's why I back out. You have to know when to leave an argument, MF. If you're arguing with somebody and they're off on a tangent and they're saying something which makes no sense to you, you should be smart enough to back off and say, you win. Right? That's what I did. You won. If I'm arguing with you about something which I know about and you think you know, and I think you're just way off target and way off the subject and just talking a whole different space, why am I going to argue with you? Because it's the nonsensical argument. We're in two different places. You think you're right. You think you know you're right. And I know you're talking nonsense. So why am I going to have the conversation? I will just be getting myself frustrated, which I'm doing now. So I'm going to move on. D says, most of these folks don't live in the U.S. where many of us are who is white and who is not, and almost daily anyone. Yeah, Trump didn't win I don't want to go off on a tangent here, and I'm doing it. Trump didn't win the election, people, because of inflation, or because people can't buy food, or because the concept of immigration is true doesn't sense. It wins because Caucasian in the US, a lot of them realize that they're becoming the minority, and they say, hell no. So immigration is a subset of that. And all you people who have bought into this nonsense about he won because of A, B, and C, no. Look at the underlying root cause. When you want to fix a problem or identify a problem, look at root cause. Don't look at symptoms. Okay, yes, some people live paycheck to paycheck, and some people may vote because of their pocket, but most people didn't vote, or maybe one didn't vote because of that. It's about, you know what? I'm going to give you the analogy, which I've said before. If you're in Jamaica and it's 90% black, well, let's say it's 75% now, but it mix up, mixed race people, and it becomes 85% and 80% and 70% and 65%. At some point, you're going to say, you know what? We can't have this. Even if you're not racist, you're going to say, you know what? We got to stop this. We become the minority in supposedly our own country. That's exactly what transpired. And you guys can buy into this notion. When I was in corporate, we couldn't say anything because in corporate, you can't say a damn thing. So now I'm not in corporate. I'm going to say what's on my mind. In fact, I would tell people that in corporate. I would have the dialogue with them. And then they get frustrated because people shouldn't talk about that in corporate. And when people ask certain questions, I would smile. They would ask those questions. Why is the Caucasian man not the one first preference for the job? Why do we have to have a slate of candidates coming in that are diverse? Because we always want to have a diverse slate. Why do we have to have that? So that the only person get affected is a white man who feel like then he becomes reverse discrimination against white men. I don't know what you guys talking about. Sometimes it's frustrating having the conversation, MF, because you think you know everything and you only know what you know what you know. You know what you know. And that's the sad thing. And you think you know everything. You know what you know. But that's the point, Crispy. I'm not saying you're racist, but I'm saying there's a lot of racism involved in what transpired, right? Some people are not racist. They just want to maintain their situation the way it is. But a lot of people were racist. They don't want no immigrants in their country. They don't want blacks to be, and blacks have been here since God knows when. So I get frustrated when I hear the nonsense. You know, leave Kranky to his knowledge. Yeah, MF, you're brilliant, MF. You know everything about everything. I don't want to argue people. I'm here to talk about people in Jamaica who are probably challenged. I understand, Chris P. Doesn't mean you're racist. I understand. That's like most countries. But those countries, like the US, which is so the question for Jamaica is a little bit different, right? For the US, which is built on immigration labor, and which actually steals, I'm going to use the word steal, the best people from all these third world countries, you want to call them, or in developing countries, take their best people to improve its society and don't want the rest of the people who come from those countries. That can then don't bring anybody to your country. Then don't bring no teachers, don't bring no lawyers, don't bring no doctors. Just keep who you have in your country. And here's the worst thing about it: for a country to grow, it has to increase its population. To increase the population, you'd have to have more than 2 kids. 2 kids just maintain your population. 3 kids increase your population. If you don't increase it, your productivity don't increase, don't improve. You have an old population right now you got to support. It's young labor that does it and drive GDP. You know, I'm not having a conversation with you people. I'm not having a conversation with MF. I'm not having a conversation. You know more than me, MF. I don't know anything. I don't know anything. I don't know anything. You're brilliant. I don't know anything. I'm gonna shut up, people. I'm just gonna talk about the hurricane. I'm going down a rabbit hole that should be going out. Trump didn't win because of inflation. Anybody will tell you they're going drill to change prices in a day. They have no idea what the hell they're talking about. They don't understand the economics. They don't understand how economics work and how the economy works. They just don't. He's a man who got lucky. He got $400 million from his family. His dad, who was probably close to being a billionaire and built all the houses in Brooklyn, gave him all that money, and he acted like he built his thing from the boots up or the bootstraps. He didn't. I'm looking at a road here in Jamaica. A lot of water. It's just a lot of water, people. Look at water. You need water to survive, but it can also kill you, which is just a sad thing. How the world works. What's good for you may be bad for you. Yeah, but we got to be very careful with that, Jay. We have to be very careful. The same people who immigrate to their country are who destroys other people's countries. Okay? Libya was a thriving company under Gaddafi. Yes, he was a dictator doing brilliantly. Libya is now a wasteland. Libya gave free schools to his people. You can go overseas and go to university, give free housing, free healthcare. They were living in splendor, a lot of them actually, except the ones who oppose the government. What is Libya now? I did a show on this. I did a video on this, before and after. What's Libya look like now? What does Iraq look like now? When they're under Saddam and we're saying it's the worst thing, sliced bread, and then the West goes in and mess things up. That's what the West does. And the West does it for its own purpose. They don't want any thriving economy, just the West to be thriving and everybody to suffer. And then it complains about people immigrating to their country. Well, you know what? Stop effing up those countries that you're going to. Stop killing the people there. Stop assassinating leaders who may not be anti your country. Anybody who wants to be anti-West get ostracized and get killed. That's a fact. If you don't want people to come to your country and then you hear people in England complaining about all these migrants coming from France across the channel, well, you know what? Stop destroying other people's country. Yeah, I mean, Libya got destroyed by the West. They're the ones who killed Gaddafi. Oh, Lord. MF, I told you won the argument, MF. Why we keep going over this? You won the argument. I'm done talking. You won the argument, MF. I'm not going to argue with you. I don't know what I'm talking about, and you do. Right? So why are we going back and forth on this? I'm not going to... For some people, you can't win the argument with them. You just know when to concede, know when to give up, and I know when to give up. I'm learning. I'm working on that. By the way, I hear Maverick calling my name this morning. Somebody texted me. I said, Maverick said your name again this morning. Why do we have to go there, Maverick? Huh? Hey, Maverick, if you want me on your program, no, hey, Maverick, I have a YouTube channel. You want to challenge me in a public debate? I'm all here. I don't have to come on your radio program. Talk about me G. We're not do the panel kind of thing. We want a more intellectual discussion, Maverick. Come on my channel and we can have the conversation. Otherwise, we're wasting time. I ain't gonna sit down and try to call your number and then phone. For people, I'm gonna ask a question. Why in Jamaica, when you call radio stations, you get busy signal? Don't they have like switchboards and a number pass on and they put you in a queue? Why are you getting, and you play some music? Why are you getting busy signal? That's so annoying. Who wants to call something, some ear place and get, this is 2025 people. By the way, people, I'm seeing some movie on one of these channels. I think I gotta switch this. My stations are all messing up all at once. Sorry. Oh, by the way, what's his name was saying that we were off speed at one point. When I was talking about FIFA auditors, he was challenging me and do I know more than them? I don't know more about anybody about anything. I'm just existing. Let me try to find another channel, people. But you win, MF. I'm not going to argue with you. I give up. You win. All I know is, people, my philosophy in life is everybody who lives should get an equal opportunity to have a good life. The world have enough resources so everybody can have a decent life, but people are innately selfish, a lot of them, and they want to hoard all the world's resources. They want an in proportional amount or inordinate amount, more than they probably should get as individuals. They want to have 500 billion and $1 trillion and beat their chests about how rich they are, and other people should be starving. To me, that's innately unfair and should not be allowed. Sorry. Should not be allowed. You only have one life to live. You should get a chance to live it decently before you leave this. And all those people who believe in this afterlife, whatever, that's your philosophy. But everybody should get a chance to live a good life before they leave this place. Right, one second, people. I'm listening to JPS talking to TVJ. They're asking them if they can tell them the amount of power lines that are down in the number of kilometers, and they probably don't know that. Actually, they don't know that because she just said no. They had a spokesperson from JPS talking to TVJ, and they couldn't tell them how much is down, maybe what areas are down to. I'm sure most of Kingston are probably all right. They didn't say much, actually, Keisha. You thought it would say more. Iran is not strong, Jay. Anybody can come to your country and just kill you and kill your best scientists and you do nothing. They're not strong. They talk a good game. They like to talk. People who are strong, they run their mouth, they just do their thing. Yeah, migrants get blamed for a lot, but the problem is the West goes into these countries, steal their resources, or disadvantage them in a lot of different ways, and then steal their best people, and then expect them to survive. And then the very least they have in those countries, those elites don't support those countries really well. They don't care about the roads or anything. They want the big cars and the big houses. That's all they care about. And they can fly out whenever they want to. So those countries then struggle. It's across the world. It's not just Jamaica or the Caribbean. It's everywhere. Bless Emerson. Thanks, Emerson. We do wish that people in Jamaica are safe. It's a tough situation because the storm is on the south coast and in the west, and it's ugly. What do you mean, Jay? You say I should use a different number call-in? That's the one I have. And if I have no issue with you. You're overstating this. I don't have an issue with you. I don't have an issue with most people. Except maybe Toxic Boss. I know, but here's the thing, go look at Guyana, people. Exxon is in Guyana. Go look how much Guyana get paid out from Exxon. How much billions Exxon take before they give them $1. And how the Guyanese leadership sold out the country. But what percentage of the revenues they get for themselves. So when you hear Guyana is rich in oil, no, Exxon is rich in oil. Guyana ain't rich in oil. You get a few billion and feel good. And Exxon taking out hundreds of billions of dollars. It's crazy. The numbers are mind-boggling. Bless up, Eagle Republic. The world is a jungle, Dr. Don. And we get lost in the jungle a lot. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Balakik. Nobody's saying that we can never skin tone, But those with the, power comes from the barrel of a weapon. I'm not going to use a gun anymore because people use drones nowadays. They use bombs. Those who have the biggest weapons and the best weapons and the biggest reach, they dominate the world. Okay? And now we're seeing China emerge. It used to be the US and Russia 24/7. Now it's China. Was joined that threesome. They're the dominant ones. And if you have nuclear weapons, if you're North Korea, who they may have sanctions against, but nobody can mess with them because they have nuclear weapons. If you're Pakistan, if you're India, if you're Israel, if they're UK, if you're France, if they're US, you're China and Russia. So the 8 nuclear countries, nobody can really tell you what to do. They may squeeze North Korea and China still help them, but they can't go in and drop no bomb on them. They can't do anything because they're afraid of their nuclear weapons. So we can talk how we want to talk, but if you have that weapon that can destroy another country, they ain't messing with you. They're not messing with you. People know if you're frightened in life, okay? Iran don't have no nuclear weapon. They don't want Iran to get nuclear weapon because it's going to balance out the Middle East. But Israel have nuclear weapon, so why is Israel getting nuclear weapon? No, they're weak, Jay. Sorry, Jay, they're weak. Can't convince me otherwise. They're weak. They talk a lot. They beat their chest a lot. Israel kill all their best scientists on a continuous basis. You think if Iran kill one Israeli scientist, you know what will happen? Oh, my Lord. Israel have all the firepower the U.S. give them, so they can do whatever they want to do. Yeah. They destroy the people's countries, and then the people have to migrate because they have no life, and then they complain about people coming to their country. No, but people, let me just tell you this. No, most people don't want to leave their own country. Most people leave their country because of economics or persecution. Two main reasons. I think most people come from Jamaica want to leave Jamaica, but their financial situation is not good. Who wants to leave what you grew up in and understand with and identify with and you're comfortable with? But if your circumstances are horrible, and you can go someplace and improve. That's why a lot of people leave from the country to go to the town in Kingston for the first place, to look for opportunities. No different from them coming to the US to look for opportunities. What has the US done for Jamaica economically, directly? Like China will go build ports and build roads. Yes, it costs money and we have to prepay them. Does the US come to Jamaica and build all these things? Except they have Boxlight, Canadian company, US going to they take. All they do is take. And if the US sneeze, Jamaica catch pneumonia between tourism and remittances. That's about what, 70% of GDP? And if you add in some agriculture, it may become 80%. Jamaica is like the 51st state of the US. Well, there are a lot of people 51st state. It's a joke. And Jamaican leaders don't find a way to diversify the economy so they don't have to be so self-dependent. So, yeah. What do you mean, Richard? I mean, Jamaica don't have its own oil. Jamaica supposedly have oil off its east and south coast. I haven't seen that oil being drilled yet. Some company in England said that they have the best oil deal ever given or made. I did some research on that. But I mean, Jamaica hasn't really have its own oil like a Trinidad or Guyana to then supply the island. Kranky, is your current passport white? Black people who say racism under the 12 are white. What, Crispy, what the hell is that about? No, I have never dated outside my race. Ever. Period. So people don't ask me that question again. Let me say this again loud and clear. People know me know this. You can date who you want to, so don't take this the wrong way. I have never dated outside my race. And I mainly date people from the Caribbean. Period. When I went to England, I dated, I'm going to talk about it. I found out a really interesting experience, actually, dating English women. No, I've never dated outside my race. So no, I don't have a spouse who is of another persuasion. So let me answer that out loud so we don't have to go over that conversation again. And if you know me, it ain't gonna happen either. I don't have an inferiority complex. Okay? I do not have an inferiority complex. And I will never have an inferiority complex. Because I believe everybody is equal. We both have all the physical features of human being. So why would I be inferior to anybody? You may have more money than me. You may supposedly be more intellectually that's given discipline. But I don't feel inferior to anybody. So why would I want to? Anyway, well, let's not go down that rabbit hole. I go down that rabbit hole. But me say this again, people. Me not date nobody outside of Maria. So we don't have the conversation again. Kill the conversation there. And if you want to do that, that's your prerogative. We have nothing against it either. Anyway. No, Crispy, you can't say that. The world is a global world. And where Trump is going about isolationists, and the world is not, the way the world is interconnected, you can't just do things all by yourself. You don't have all the intellectual capacity or all the resources. You depend on somebody for something else. So the question is, how well do you marshal your resources and including your people and their intellect to help develop your country, but also leverage the rest of the world to assist in doing so? And in doing so, do you make sure that you're not cheated as it relates to what you give versus what you get? Right? If you think about your GDP it's a combination of all your goods and services. It's a combination of I'm watching something here, people. Sorry. Of your net trade, net trade, so whether positive or negative, all of people, and all your government spending, right? So if you can take all those three and maximize people producing in your country, right? You make sure when you trade, you have a trade deficit with our country, or a trade plus, not a trade deficit, trade surplus, and you make sure government collecting taxes so they can spend. If you do that really well, and also you focus on those disciplines, which is going to be futuristic and makes sense versus just the more mundane things. So you focus on STEM versus just agriculture. You should focus on agriculture so you can feed yourself. Do what China did when they had the policy of being self-sufficient by 2025. And the policy was in place for a number of years. And now they're basically self-sufficient. That's why they can push back on the U.S. India does that with Russian oil farmer. India does. That's why Trump was penalizing India with extra tariffs or increased tariffs because they take the Russian oil, refine them, and sell them. Yeah, we could do that. I think what we should go do is go drill for oil, because I'm sure we got some oil off the coast someplace, off Portland or off Kingston or something. I'm sure we have oil out there someplace. It would be good to be set. But most countries, frankly, most minority countries that get oil, they get killed by the big oil companies. Guyana, for example, most oil companies, most of the construct is that you get, say, 12.4% of net profits. So you take the total revenues, you subtract your costs, and you get 12.5% of that. But you can manipulate costs, right? And then you get some percentage of gross revenue. So if you make $100, say I get 10% of that. So I get $10. And then plus $10 plus some profit number, some percentage of profit number. You know what Guyana gets? The world average, I think, is between 9 and 15%. They get 3%. So they get 1/3 of what they should be getting at a minimum from Exxon for the oil that they drilled there. So you think about it, they get, say, $3 billion, they should be getting $9 billion. You know what $6 billion difference could do? And Exxon ain't renegotiating those contracts. Whoever did it for Guyana before sold them out. Guyana should be a very rich country right now, given their population size. If you figured out what Saudi Arabia does, or some other countries do, they give their citizens $150,000 to buy property or a house right off the bat. They give them stipend. Societies sometimes get lazy, but yeah. All right, let's try to find more what's happening in Jamaica. See, nothing's happening in Kingston, people. You see that? Let me try to put this again. Nothing happening in Kingston. Kingston is just relaxed. You can start moving around in Kingston, frankly. Can't do that out south, in the west. Nah, there's no comparison. Singapore is a first world country now. Singapore can compare per capita to the US, actually, and maybe even be better. And Singapore is made up of a bunch of migrants from different countries, Chinese, Malaysia, whatever. Singapore was behind Jamaica in the early 60s. They sure no comparison now. But Singapore don't have the burden of being black also. And being too close to the US, which sometimes is not that good. Let me see if I can find this. Jamaica should not drill? Really? Why King J? Should divert towards Mobay? Yeah. Can you guys point me to a camera that's in Mobay that I can utilize? Because I got just Kingston cameras here. Richard Green said he didn't answer his question. What was Richard Green's question? Let's see his question. Richard Green, no oil refinery. Let me try to find it. Kranky, please answer this question. As an oil refinery, why aren't we buying crude oil? No, I said we should try to do that. If we have an oil refinery, we should do what India does with Russian oil, right? It's cheaper to buy crude oil, and if you can refine the oil and sell it, then it should be better for you as a country. So yeah, Richard, I'm not avoiding your question. I don't avoid questions, If I don't know what I was going to say, I don't know. Yeah, that's a great point. Singapore is rich in intellect. They're very rich in intellect.
Have you ever wanted to see your home from space? With this free satellite Earth Maps tool, you can...
Oh, Lord. Singapore is rich in intellect. They have an abundance of intellect. That's how they get rich. They don't have resources, but it's a great point you're making, which is I don't have natural resources, and yet I do brilliant as a country. It does beg the question, doesn't it? Okay. TNT still have oil? I thought they're running out of I think they're running out of stuff. TNT is probably one of the worst managed countries ever. one of the worst managed countries ever. Well, then again, it's probably most black countries anyway. Oh, Lord have mercy. It's the wrong place to come with that nonsense. I'm sorry. I hate to call your stuff nonsense, but them books are written by a man who can prophesize nothing. Yeah. This thing about this book of Jeremiah, people, I am not the person to come to with these things. You got to go to believers with these things. I don't believe in a lot of that stuff, so you can't come to me with it. I apologize, people. I'm not knocking anybody's religion. I just don't believe in that stuff, so I can't have the conversation. I'm the wrong person. Trinidad is challenged, people. Their crime rate, they're trying to pass Jamaica when it comes to crime. They may have done. They're close. Last time I checked, they were close to doing so. Think not. Iran just lifted the law. Yeah. I don't know if Iran should look. I think the world is too warlike. Iran talk too much. When you talk too much, you get yourself in trouble. Talk too much. Just try to treat your citizens right. Try to improve your citizens' lives, and try to stop to be a warmonger. Everybody looking for power. Everybody wants to be powerful and to dominate. And some countries not going to allow you to do so. Kranky, the believers are hell-bent on making it happen, though. Yeah, I know. They come up with these things from the Bible way back when. And then they associate names of countries with those in the Bible. Something don't even link. And then when you tell them something doesn't work, they'll tell you that you're misinterpreting the Bible or you're reading it the wrong way. And then they tell you, well, these people need to be more learned in that discipline and that thing because you're not reading things the right way. You don't interpret the right way. You don't understand. And you're just like, you know what? Whatever. I prefer not to understand. That's part of the question, Jay. That's the same thing in Guyana, you know. I mean, the country will get affected negatively from a climate change standpoint when you drill. At the same time, if people were less selfish, these countries could do phenomenally well, right? They could benefit significantly from the resources from oil, even just because oil drives your economy in a lot of cases, right? If those of you who read about the 1970s, I mean, where you had an oil crisis, I mean, it brought some countries to their knees. So, you know, countries like Nigeria have oil, Venezuela have oil. Well, Nigeria has bad management. Venezuela was killed by the U.S. when Chavez took over, and then Maduro subsequently. And they try to drive it by saying the poor is not being treated right, while they do the same damn thing that the poor did. Cuba is destroyed by the U.S., Venezuela by the U.S. with their sanctions. So a lot of these countries suffer because the U.S. decided they're going to destroy them. Why would they do it? But they have doctors who train outside Jamaica, in Jamaica. I'm not sure I understand that one, D. That's probably true, Jay, but I think that's a good question, Jay, actually. I think if the U.S. is going to complain about immigration and push back on immigration, then what it should do is allow these countries to function without interfering in their politics. Because Congress and the U.S. government are hypocrites when they complain about Russia interfering in their election. They think it's okay. They come in like, I don't want to use the analogy, I'm going to leave it alone, but they think it's okay for them to interfere in other people's election, but if you do in the election, they lose their mind. They think it's the worst thing since sliced bread. And that's the hypocrisy that drives a lot of these economies or these countries, how they operate. They can interfere in your election, but you can't do it. They can kill your citizens, but you can't do that. I mean, somebody's going to bomb people and kill 14 people and say they have drugs and they can't provide any evidence that they have drugs. It's crazy. Well, Japan went through a stagnation period, right? They went through a period, if you think about it, in the 80s, Japan was big. Japan went to Hawaii and bought up every house in Hawaii. Industries were booming, car industry, a lot of their technology industry in terms of electronics. And they were printing money, and then they ran into a wall. They had stagnation. They had deflation. Things weren't moving. They reduced interest rate to zero. Nothing changed. They had negative interest rate at one point. People put their money under the mattress in Japan. I've had a chance to go to Japan a few times and talk to people there. And some of the people who manage there. And also the mob in Japan, people don't realize that. I used to get complaints from, I don't know what companies I work for, but they used to complain about the mob in Japan in the markets. Tell the financial markets people. You don't hear about that in the US. So, yeah, it's different. No, because we have always had hurricanes, right? I think climate change is affecting the severity of these weather situations. I don't think we create them. I think we exacerbate them, right? We don't create them. I don't think we create a lot of them, even though you never know what the CIA is doing and some of these intelligence agents are doing. But I think we exacerbate them. So climate change is real. And people like Trump, who do not care about people, let me tell you this, people don't seem to get this with Trump. Trump's almost 80 years old. He won't be here in the next 20 years, right? Because most people ain't gonna live to 100. He may live 10 more years, whatever he lives. Trump has never cared about anybody except Trump. I don't think he cares about his own kids. Do you see Ivana in the White House anymore? He doesn't care about his own kids. So at the end of the day, Trump don't care what happened when he leaves. That's who he is. And people don't seem to realize that. And the Republicans don't realize that. He doesn't care what happened when he leaves. So he'll drill. He'll go to those wasteland. He'll go to Alaska in those preserve places and drill. Because he don't care what happened to the world when he leaves. He doesn't. And other people don't seem to get that. And they're going to be here, especially the ones who are 30 and 40 and the ones who are 20 are susceptible to what's happening. But I don't think people realize that and understand that, and that they have to try to avoid what he's doing versus support what he's doing. They don't get that. Let me try to call this radio station Jamaica again. Where they talk sports and see if I can get some news. Is Trump of sound mind? Yeah, he's of sound mind. No, I think Singapore is past the U.S. I think Singapore is past the U.S. There's some countries which are. I mean, European countries, people may not understand, they have a socialist economic system. What do I mean by that? Which is they have universal health care. They have benefits for their population. They tax the hell out of you. May not be sustainable, but they have declining populations. So when they complain about immigrants, if there were white people immigrating if there were whites coming to America, nobody would be complaining, people. Because they want the population to grow. If there were whites coming to America, nobody would be complaining. If there were white going to Europe, nobody would be complaining. But because it's not whites who are going to these countries, whites just complain. Now, I think you should manage your borders, don't get me wrong. But it's the persuasion of the people moving to your country is not because of immigration. All these countries, Italy is declining population, Japan population is declining. But Japan immigration policies are very stringent. Let me see if I can call this radio station again and see if they can talk to me about what's happening in Jamaica, even though it's a sports station. But if I call the station, people don't get a busy signal. But watch. I hate that. Kingston should be good, though. See? Busy signal. Why when you call a station, you get busy signal, people? I don't understand that. No, Jay, it's not about challenging the West. Your goal in life should not be to challenge anybody. It should be to improve the lives of your citizens. Your citizens deserve to have a good life when they're born to when they die. That's the goal. It's not to challenge the West. It's to have a good life. Yeah, I mean, the Irish and the Italians were like how blacks were, right? No. There were groups that were marginalized. The concept of white only came along later. The white wasn't there before. White is a more current term in the last probably 150 years, 200 years versus before. I hear you, Crispy. I hear what you're saying. But they're not the only one living in their country, right? America is not a white country. America is a diverse country. The Indians are the ones were the first inhabitants, not Caucasians. Caucasians came, then black came. So it's not a white country. It may be majority white, but it's not a white country. I hear you. He doesn't have any image. He's a ghetto president. I'm going to have image if he's a ghetto president. There's no such thing about image for a ghetto president. Man's a ghetto president. Ghetto president doesn't mean you're poor, you know. Ghetto president is about how you behave. Because there's some people in the ghetto who are good people and live good lives, even they may be financially challenged. He's just ghetto. Ghetto communicator, can't read, didn't spend a lot of time in school, went to the best schools, but wasn't good in school. Bankrupt all the companies that he worked for. He's a good marketer, though. The salesman.
What's better after 50, Gwen? Gym or Tai Chi?
One builds ego. The other reverses time.
Yeah, but when you call radio station in Jamaica, the phone rang busy. So when Maverick called me out the other day, I tried to ring him right away because you guys know how I react, right? I should call him and say, let's have the conversation now. Phone is busy. And then I hear Pel for this and Mid-G this. I'm just saying, no, I'm not waste my time. So I called somebody, tell him, I'll call. Give me a number to call the number. I have the conversation. I don't mind going to this channel. And then the person called him. I'm not sure what happened. And then I told the person, tell him to call my channel. You ain't got no business signal on my channel. I don't have business signal on my channel. If you call my phone, I may be on the phone with somebody, so I don't take the call. But I don't have business signal, people. It makes no sense to have business signal. MF, you and I just agree on something. See how well that works? In terms of one race, human race. Now, the skin color thing will never go away. I'm going to tell you how dominant a certain race is. If you go to Asia, so if you know what dominant race is, you guys are going to hate me saying this, but it's true. Look at the relationship between the men and the women. When I went to Asia, I didn't see any Asian man, maybe one time, with a Caucasian woman. I saw a ton of Caucasian males with Asian women. And I looked at them saying, oh, this is sort of indicative of how this works in terms of who dominates. Now, one may say, well, it's mainly Caucasian men who travel to Asia for business and other purposes. The women don't travel as much. But there were Caucasian women there. They weren't dating no Asian man. But then one could say it's the reverse. If you go to England, so many black men with Caucasian women. But it doesn't mean that's power, just situation. No, that's not going to happen. They're crude people like our president who doesn't see things that way. As you can see, people, Kingston, people can start coming out, Ain't nothing happening in Kingston. If you're on the South Coast or the West, it's not a good thing. Okay. But I'm just showing you the dominance of a race, right? That's the point, Jay, which is, I haven't been to South America, so I don't know. But it's about the dominance of a race, where you can go anywhere and you get treated like royalty just because of your color. One of my TVs blanked out. I don't know what happened here. Let me try to find if I can call this number again and say they pick up. I hate calling phone numbers and they're busy. It's 2025. I'm through. The phone is ringing. Let's see what anybody picks up. Maybe there's no one in the office. And these calls ain't free there, so Jamaica understand that these ain't no free calls. People call you, I'm firing no free because they don't have WhatsApp number. I wonder why that's the case, actually. Why is no one picking up? Let me try this again, people. The phone is ringing, but no one is picking up. Is KLS on today? I'm trying to call KLS. Are they on today? Let me make sure I have the right number. Let me see what the number look like. No answer. Why are these stations showing us Kingston? Well, nobody want to see Kingston people. We know Kingston people are all right. Why are we showing Kingston? Why didn't you show us something about St. Elizabeth? 2841615. I have the right number. Yeah, it's kind of hard to imagine the bad. The bad are always dominant, aren't they? The bad are not as easy to marginalize as one may think they are. The bad is not easy to marginalize at all. They're showing us in Kingston, but I don't want to see Kingston. Ain't not in Kingston I want to see because Kingston is not under pressure. Kingston is under pressure, people. Bay, that's under pressure. It's showing me Oxford Road and Natural Boulevard. Just some water. It's not even flooded. No, I'm only getting Kingston feed. I don't see any feed. Oh, okay. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense, Jay. Well, no, we have to pay for these phone calls we make to radio stations in Jamaica. It's not free. Oh, I see a light pole is knocked down. I wonder if people are going to drive through that light now. That's another thing too, people. When the power goes, the grid gets messed up and traffic becomes a nightmare. All right, let me try to do this again. Let me do this right now. Try another number. See if I'm able to pick up at this radio station. I guess the radio station closed down today. Let me see if they on. I know Hits 97 was on this morning. They ain't picking up. Oh Lord, it's No, I understand why. It's a religious channel that has sports programming, and it's the I guess it's prayer time. It's prayer time. It's prayer time, so that's why nobody's picking up. I guess they have no radio show today. You know what? I should link my family again because they're in the Montego Bay region. Let me see if they're all right. So they're all right from a long time. Let me text again. But so I have a question for you, Juras. Why would God give me special treatment? They pray for me. Why would he give special treatment versus somebody else? I'm texting MF. I'm texting. Let me see if he answers. I got people start buying them. Even though I'm not a Musk fan, I'm not a fan of Musk. If Starlink works, then that's what you should be doing business with. So, yeah, they are speaking in tongues. No sports today. Some tongue thing. You know, Jamaicans believe wherever we go, they take the church I come with me. Oh, okay. You know what? Okay, I don't see what. The phone is ringing, but nobody's picking up. Oh, I hear you. I'm glad you guys believe that, Juras. More power to you. Nobody picking up people. The phone doesn't ring. You hear? Nobody picking up. Nope. No, sir. Phone ringing, but no one is picking up. So that means the phone service must be out. In 1 second, people. Let's try to find out some information. No phone service, MF. Just confirm it. No, no phone service. I guess phones are down. But where my people live, though, they should be okay. I think the if that roof gets blown off, even much I pay for that roof, if that roof gets blown off, then something's wrong. But actually, part of the roof is concrete. It's only a small portion of not concrete, so they should be all right. Yeah, they're catering to Trump. That's what it does, DC. They're catering to Trump. They're gonna try to squeeze them, cut off all their funding from all sources. Good point. MF, that's an interesting point. I don't think that's going to happen, though. It's more expensive, isn't it? When you have to dig up ground and it's expensive. It's easy if you just put up a life port and just run it. You have to dig up ground, it's expensive. Cost is what drives some of these things, you know. No, they need more satellite in the sky, even though the world have too much satellites, but it is, but it's more expensive, isn't it? It's like trying to put subway stations in some countries. It takes a lot of billions of dollars to go dig deep, and it's much more effective, but yeah. Easy is the enemy of good. Cost is the enemy of cost is also the enemy. Cost is a big enemy. It's very expensive to do that. What time is it? Almost 5 o'clock. People came on what, 3 o'clock? Our plan is for it to be 2 hours. If I need to find good source to come back on and do this, right? We can't do this with just showing pictures of Kingston, adding value to nothing. It's frustrating. I'm listening, even the TV station not give me enough information about the more susceptible places. Give me a lot of Kingston information as if I care about some place not affected. I want to know about the West and St. Elizabeth. And I understand it's more difficult, but they should have had cameras in some strategic location in those places to allow them then to get feeds and disseminate them to people, give them what the predictions were as to where the storm would hit worse. You know what? It was interesting to determine. When I was in Jamaica, I actually filmed. I had a discussion with somebody who ran BYD in Jamaica, the car company. He's part of a group owned by the Stewart family. We had a long conversation. I recorded it. I recorded like was it a half hour, 1 hour conversation? And I didn't turn the mic on. That's on me. But we had a long conversation about electric vehicles, about solar. Jamaica does a lot in this space. Maybe not enough, but they do a lot in this space, actually. And I was saying to him, Jamaica has one of the biggest natural resources in sunshine and sunlight that is not being leveraged appropriately to supply the island with energy. And he was walking me through the history of it and what they were doing. I was more impressed about some of the things they're doing, but I still think there's a lot more that they can do. But I recorded it and it didn't get recorded. Very unfortunate, because it was a really good conversation. I was staying at the AC Hotel, and they were aligned to the AC Hotel. They were part of the same complex. And I went in there and sat down with him for like half an hour to an hour. I had a good conversation about the car company, what they were doing, electric vehicle. He told me how much location they have throughout the island, the distances were, why it makes sense to do it, the economics of it, his engagement with BYD in China and all it worked. And so I think you'll see Jamaica have much more electric vehicles over time, but also probably leverage solar over time. It's a little bit expensive. A friend of mine put it in. I think when she did a couple years ago, it cost her $10,000 US. It's hard for a lot of people to come up with $10,000 US. But she had solar, and she was telling me she paid. I mean, she'd make it back in 4 years, I think she says. So she break even in 4 years, which then suggests it's a no-brainer, right? But maybe what Jamaica should do is underwrite it for a lot of people, and it's a loan where you pay back over time, like a mortgage. That's what they should do. Yeah, Mr. Man, I'm not surprised, especially when you talk about the sea right beside Lucy. Think about it. Lucy's built on the sea, right on the sea. They have a wall there, but that wall is not. That wall is not high enough to keep out anything if the waves are as high as they say they're going to be. Yeah, but I think if you have solar, I heard that some of the solar roofs are getting taken off too. So you may have solar, but you're gonna have to pay for that thing when you get taken off. That's just as expensive. It's going to take a while for the island to recover, actually. No, solar can be cost effective. I don't agree with that. If it's going to take her 4 years to recoup and break even, then it's effective. It depends on how old you are. If you're 90, it may not make any sense, but if you're below 60, it does. Even if you're 60 or plus, and going to live longer. Yeah, there's some panels they're saying Westmoreland are blowing off. I know a few people who have solar, so I just text my friend, and she was saying that she don't know because the Wi-Fi in our house is out, because she's here in the US, but when she tried to do a remote linking, when she tried to do some remote linking, it wasn't happening because she monitors our house remotely. But the Wi-Fi is down, which is not surprising because I'm sure the lines are down. Yeah, well, they were not cheap in Jamaica. They have to add on their profit determined. They have to add on a lot of profit to it. But no, it was a really good conversation. I did have another one. I was supposed to post a video on my channel, but I had two conversations. I didn't post the other one. I was supposed to post it. But I was very disappointed because he was very informative, actually. It was a really good conversation. In fact, when I was interviewing him, because I was doing that in Jamaica, just interviewing people randomly, a person came to buy a car, and we had to, I told him to go sell the car to the person. It was some diplomat. And it was an interesting conversation when he came back to sit down. That's when I didn't turn my thing on. I thought I turned it on, but I didn't turn it on. End up not recording it, which was sad, actually. We have to qualify World Cup with players who are not playing. I don't know how that works. I think Trinidad is pretty confident they can beat us. And then they hope that we lose to them. If we beat and we draw with Curacao, what I would hope for is that they still can't make it that way. Trinidad to hope that Merbina draw with Curacao draw with us, they beat us, and they beat Bermuda, and they be in good place. Or they finish with 11 points, and it's good enough to be second place in the playoffs, where they're going to play some big country from some big region. So that may not be good. All we have to do is beat Curacao at home. Good afternoon. Who am I speaking to?
Crispy.
Crispy, how you doing?
I'm fine. You know, one moment you're in deep analysis with your charts, and you're assessing this and assessing that, and I'm like, go Kranky, go. And then another minute, you're on about racism and this, and I'm like, oh boy. I preferred the farmer.
You're not cranky. We all have our preference in life. So just listen to that one. Don't listen to the other one if that's the case. That's what I suggest. You go get the other one. Here's what you feel to realize, that I am very experienced, and sometimes in a bad way, that good way. I have been there, done that, seen it, experienced it. I'm gonna give you an example. Have you ever seen a situation where somebody in your job is doing their darnest to get you fired? Have you ever had this experience? And the person wasn't black, by the way. Have you ever had experience? Answer me, yes or no.
Yeah, not their darnest, but I've had situations where people, co-workers, try to get me fired.
Right, but the point I'm trying to make, one of your staff, not co-worker, one of your staff is working behind the scenes to get you fired. No other reason than they want your job, right? And one may say, is that race or something else? The point I'm trying to make is that human beings are an interesting, the human race is an interesting species. And people can do things which you may think that they would never do that. And if you tell somebody it's conspiracy theory and you're lying, making any sense. But when you've experienced it, it's amazing when you sit back and think about it. When the person orchestrates you getting fired, they went through and wait. There's somebody who's senior, there's somebody who's loved, there's somebody who's charismatic, there's somebody people value their intellect, and they have a construct where they were going to get you fired. Well, they got fired eventually because I just truly fired them. But going through the process, you get to realize that people can, just like those of you who are senior enough to know about J.R. Ewing, for example, a show called Dallas. If you're senior to know this, the person was like that. What I'm trying to make is that in life, if somebody's talking about racism and you don't like it, then close your ears because they've experienced it. Close your ears.
Yeah. I am.
Because you have I can't satisfy some of your perspective, right? You have a view of life, and it seems to be siloed, and that's your perspective, and I respect that, and it's your thing. But I have a much more different view of life. I see life in different realms and different ways. I see people differently. Not every Caucasian person is racist. Not every black person is some other way, right? But some are. And so you have to call it out when you see it. And you have to call it out when it exists.
Let's work with the argument that some are. Okay. In the main, our problems are 100% internal.
That's nonsense. That's nonsense. No. Crispy, back up. Crispy.
Let me finish.
No, you have the floor. Let me say this, Crispy. When people like you make that statement, it frustrates me. Because then you're suggesting you're not worldly enough to understand that I just gave you my analogy for a perfect reason like that. Some things are orchestrated. Mine is minutia. On the larger scale, these things happen. And it's inconceivable to some people that it actually happens. The floor is yours. You can say what you want to say. Because I know where you're going. Go ahead. The floor is yours. Crispy, you still there? Or you left me? I'm hearing noise in the back. Crispy, you still there? You got cut off, people. I knew exactly where Chris B was going, people. I'm telling you, I knew exactly where he was going with that. I don't know why he got cut off. Maybe I'm gonna call him back too. Where is it? What happened? I don't see his number. Damn. I don't know what happened. I didn't cut him off. He got cut off. But I know exactly where he was going. Right? Which is this. Which is his view that you have to be self-determinant. You have to be independent. You have to do things yourself. We create our own problems. I understand that perception. And some of that is true. But both things can be true. You can not be self-sufficient. You can orchestrate your own problem. You can have internal divisions, which manifest themselves in you not doing as well as you can do. But you can also be in a situation where you are being manipulated, you are being undermined, things are being orchestrated against you, and with forces which you can't control, like the CIA in Jamaica in the late 70s. That's a perfect example. So don't say that, oh, it's totally us and what we're doing. It's a combination. We gotta own our own, but yeah, I'm not gonna buy that thing by saying, oh, it's only us. No, I'm gonna buy that. Huh? You got cut off. Hello?
Yes.
I don't know why you got cut off.
Yeah. You were going to say something.
Go ahead. No, you have the floor.
When I identify the internal problems, I personally, when I line up the problems, itemize, I don't see a problem that we have internally that's coming from the outside. I don't see, in the main, I don't see it. Right? Take Jamaica, for example. Jamaica has a very high crime rate, specifically the analyzing rate is the highest in the world. That's an internal problem. I don't see any outsider causing that. These are
wait. So, Sir P, when you make these statements, can you give me a chance to respond to each of these ones you're gonna make? Can you do that?
Yeah.
So what's the first? What's the first one?
The high murder rate and high crime rate overall.
Right. Okay. So we would probably agree that when we look at problems, we should have root cause and symptoms. And sometimes you can't fix root cause because the magnitude is so great, you have to address the symptoms. Where do the guns come from that are used to kill people?
The majority, according to the police, the majority come from the United States. Shipped to Jamaica by Jamaicans who in America. So Jamaicans in America are buying up guns and shipping to their own country to kill their own people.
Right. So let's explore that. So don't disagree that a lot of them come from Jamaicans doing it, right? But you have to ask the question: if the guns were not available, could they ship them? So if I cut out the supply of guns, can they ship them to Jamaica?
No.
Okay. So we wouldn't have that problem then, right?
However,
no, wait.
Correct.
Okay.
However, you yourself. There are many immigrant groups in America, and they are not shipping back guns to their own country to kill their people. So you're correct.
Wait. Back up. You sure about that?
I am sure.
Right. So where the guns come from to kill the other Trinidadians who are getting killed nowadays?
Like I said before, you're correct.
You just said wait, back up. Let's break it down slowly, one by one. You said
not to be a diva, but I am not trash.
I have an advertisement.
I am a proud, gorgeous banana.
You said Jamaica is the only country where the persons who immigrate to the country are sending guns back.
No. I didn't say that.
What did you say?
I said I should ameliorate that. Okay, all immigrant groups are not doing this. I'm just
okay. So you reposition the argument. This. Okay. But quite a few are doing it, right? So here's what you can understand about this: proximity matters. So if I'm in Nigeria, it's much more difficult to ship guns to Nigeria from the U.S. than from Miami, which is 1 hour and a half away from by plane, right? There's a big difference. Secondly, guns are shipped back to Mexico. That's why Mexico get challenged. And the killings in Jamaica, in Mexico, probably as much as Jamaica. Maybe per capita wise less, but a lot of killings in Mexico, right? A lot of killings in Trinidad, right? And those are probably key immigrant groups. If you think about the US, Venezuela more recently, that are having these killings. So more than one immigrant groups are sending guns back to their countries to create mayhem, correct?
True.
Okay. So it's not just Jamaica.
No, it's not just Jamaica. But again, there's a chart, and there's a chart, and charts are important, and rankings are important, as you touched on last night in the football.
Right.
So Jamaica is in the top 10. For example, Jamaica is at top in the top 10. Mexico is way down. Not way down, but Mexico is not all the way up. However, Jamaicans over the years, I have seen it, because I remember a time when it was not like this so much. I have seen the culture change, where Jamaicans have developed certain cultures on their own over the years.
What does that mean?
I'm talking about badmanism. Take for example, in the football, when Shamal Nicholson and a couple of them score a goal, they celebrate by shooting an M16, by gesturing as if they're shooting an M16.
You know that Phil Foden does that, right?
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Fine. Again, but you're shooting the internet now. I'm fine.
You know that we have a lot of aggressive cowboy movies that promote violence, and all this show like what's Al Capone, is it? All those movies made in America that promote guns and gun violence, right? We have a lot of that, which influences people and people's behavior. You know that, right?
Great.
Okay.
Great. But we also have our own internal media that promote the gun culture and violence, the music specifically.
No, we're not saying that. We're not saying that we don't create some of our own problems. What I'm saying is that you can make it say it's all internal. And I'm trying to articulate to you, it's not all internal. The guns that came to Jamaica in the late 70s when Manu was in power and they had the 80 election. Where do you think the American guns come from? You think it was Jamaicans sending them back, or you think it was US sending those guns? Because Jamaica population did migrate to the US in the volume of this today. The CIA was the one sending those guns back to Jamaica. That's well documented.
Based on the evidence, the majority of those guns, some came in from Cuba and some came in from America, because Michael Manley was communist and Siaga was quote-unquote capitalist, and both sides were supplying their supporters locally. So you have the CIA funding Edward Siaga, and then you have the Cubans funding the PMP. So but however, you see, those tribal divisions were there and they were exploited. You know what I mean?
But you think but you have to understand. No. Back up, Sir P. Here's what you think: an independent country can have self-determination how they want to live. You shouldn't tell an independent country what government they should have and what ideology that you should have. Jamaica decided to decided to go social. It's mainly socialism. You use the word communism to make sure the downtrodden can have food to eat, can have a good life. The US said that's not happening on my back door, in my back step. So they started sending guns in. Then Cuba, by Castro, sending guns into Jamaica, and we had a conflict we have. Okay, if you're an independent, you think anybody can come tell America what government they should have, what ideology they should have? So why are you telling some other country that what ideology they should have, how they should live their life? Who gives you the right to do that?
I totally agree that every country on earth should be free to chart their own course and their own destiny. Unfortunately, we do not live in that world, so we have to adapt. For example, if we talk about Singapore, I read Lee Kuan Yew's book. It's called from third world to first, and he said during that same time, Singapore, they were trying to pull Singapore into that issue, and he said he's going to remain neutral. He was faced with the same problem, and he said it was practical to remain neutral. So I completely agree what's going on with Venezuela is extremely unfortunate, and it is wrong. What's going on with Iran, you get no argument from me. But also, we have to be realistic. And what I observe with Black people on a whole, like you touched that, we are very uncomfortable with how the world works.
What does that mean? I'm not sure I understand that.
It means we do not accept reality. We do not accept reality, and we are uncomfortable with how the world works, and we have failed to adapt and change our culture around how the world works. We want to go off our own way and then complain when it does not work.
I'm not sure I understand that, right? I think the Jamaican culture is adopted by other people. I think some of the things that we do, which people say are bad, actually works in both ways. Their attributes and their deficit, right? So if you say Jamaicans are overly aggressive, that aggressiveness makes us believe that we can achieve anything. It may be some people may take it too far, but what you may deem to be a detriment, for a lot of people, it's an attribute and a strength that allows them to make progress. I don't see a Jamaican come to the U.S. and say, you know what, I'm going to be subservient. I can't achieve anything I want to achieve. To the contrary.
There are many countries around the world that are way more, that are higher achievers than Jamaica, and they do not engage in this type of behavior. But Crispy, you are. And this aggression, even though I do not wish for anybody to get hurt, but however, if this aggression were not directed at us, it will be bad and not too bad.
I can understand. Wait, I understand that. I understand that.
For example, we talk about certain things. Let's work with it. These white people, quote unquote, they are not destroying their own community. Their communities are safe and sound. They are able to walk on their street in peace with their wonderful gardens and their wonderful town centers, and they go and they bomb Iraq. We are not doing that. We cannot walk on our street. We don't have the wonderful gardens. And
that's not true though. That's not true. So that's not true. No, that's not true. So here's why I say that's not true, because you cast this wide blanket.
I was going to say in general.
Okay.
You stopped me. Okay. But I was going to say in general.
Okay.
I was going to say in general, and also the crime issue. Next thing, I think the crime is number one because according to Maslow laws of needs, safety is important. Secondly, in Jamaica, for example, the economy. Jamaica does not have an economy. We talk about Nigel, this, and I don't remember his last name, and the GDP. Jamaica does not have an economy, and the evidence is just there for us. And the tourism is quote unquote there. And when you look at many of these hotels, many of these hotels are private, public partnerships with the government. If they fail, the government, will have to step in and over the tab.
All right, so let me jump in for a second. A couple of things. Jamaica have an economy, but I would agree with you. The economy to me is not sustainable. The economy to me is not diversified. The economy to me is not futuristic. The economy to me has identified the key things you're going to need to go forward in the next decade, the next century, and to make it sustainable and to make it work and to make it fruitful and to make you progress. I don't disagree with that concept, but don't say they don't have an economy. You have an economy. When over 70% of the economy is based on your relationship with one country, that's a recipe for disaster. And when your economy is not about your intellect, but it's about somebody giving you handouts in a sense, which is tourism is basically a handout to me, and social remittances, that cannot work long. And so for the government in Jamaica and those in power and the country in a whole have to realize, and by the way, another thing about it is when your economy when part of your economy, when part of your country is about you continue to lose intellectual capital because of migration, it's a recipe for disaster. Probably Jamaica's biggest deficit or biggest detriment is the loss of intellectual capital. Because Jamaica population has grown in the last God knows how many years because so many people migrate. The Jamaica population is 2.9. From I'm growing up, I hear it's been 2.7, 2 point something. Right? So in 30, 40 years, your population don't grow. That's a joke. You can't be productive.
I agree with you. According to the UN report on Jamaica immigration, 34% of born Jamaicans, not Jamaicans who have ancestry, born Jamaicans live overseas for economic reasons. 34% is not far away from half. But okay, let's look at that. Coming into independence from 1962 to 1972, the economy was growing at a rate of 6% annually for 10 years out of independence. Correct. There were disparity in income and where the money was going because
this is the latest razor developed by Gillette, a super sharp and portable razor. It features German diamond.
The people who invest are going to make the most money, and they are going to make the money first. You cannot have, unless you want to have a communist type of atmosphere, fine. But if you're going to have free markets, the investors are going to, and the people who own companies are going to make the most money. That's what's occurring. The Jamaican people say they did not want that arrangement. They wanted a socialist/communist arrangement that destroyed the economy. From 1972 to 1980, the economy lost 25% of its value.
It's not linked to things like decline in sugar and bauxite and all those industries. Isn't that part of the whole decline that would allow for that to manifest itself?
No, specifically because if you look at the data from 1962 to 6% growth, and then for example, you have to remember, when Michael Manley was coming into office, and you have to go back to that time. Now, when we talk about communism and socialism, we have an understanding of what it is, and some of what people accuse it of being is not true. Some is true, whatever. I am not sure if you've heard of this saying. 5 flights a day to Miami, you can choose one.
No, I haven't heard the saying, but I understand what it means.
That's a saying that Michael Manley uttered, saying that the business people in Jamaica who disagreed with his policies, 5 flights were going to Miami and they can leave. That caused a massive exodus in capital and most importantly, intellectual capital. We do not want to admit this, and a whole business people tend to be very smart. They tend to have know-how, they tend to have skills. Yes, they are greedy, and yes, they get very rich. That's true. And that's an argument but we have to also admit these people have know-how. And when we lose that know-how, that gap was never filled. And that's the main reason why we know a situation where the economy lost 25% of its value in 8 years. So the people who the socialism was supposed to help, it didn't help them because they didn't have any job and the economy deteriorated. So much so, if you look at Jamaica right now, Jamaica is being held up falsely. You look at programs like NHT that people talk about. If your housing is being subsidized, that means you can't afford it and you own something is wrong. You know what I mean? So Jamaica's economy is chiefly as a result of Jamaica doing. My grandparents' generation, they choose socialism and communism. And Jamaica suffered. You know what I mean?
Jamaica suffered because of fear and interference by the U.S. That's why they suffered. Fear. So you had mass migration of people leaving and interfering by the U.S. And U.S. created a lot of that fear by what they publicize in media and to create that fear. U.S. orchestrated all that fear. The U.S. was Jamaica's biggest problem.
No, Kranky.
No, they were.
Okay. Personally, for me, if I were around that time and I see what was going on, I would have remained neutral.
You couldn't be neutral, actually. And most business people were neutral. They were JLP. They weren't neutral. They were JLP.
No. I'm not talking about. I'm talking about the country's policy. Singapore.
Okay.
I'm talking about.
I understand what you say. Look, I think Manley made a mistake in terms of not understanding. You have to know how to play the game. You could still help your people. You could still help your people, but not because Russia is very far away from Cuba. Proximity matters, people. Size matters. Influence matters. It's like in no other environment. You got to know how to play the game. It's a game, and the question is, who is smart enough to play the game and benefit your people from playing the game? It's a game. That's why Jamaica is playing the game now. When Netanyahu spoke at the UN and 70 nations walk out, Jamaica didn't walk out. Jamaica's playing the game. It is the U.S. support Netanyahu. We and the person was there representing Jamaica said, well, we believe in dialogue and engagement. We don't believe in not being in the room, blah, 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 whatever she was saying. It's nonsense. They were just kissing after the U.S. because they understand that the U.S. sneeze, they have pneumonia. And it makes sense. They're playing the game. It's a long game. You play the game.
We have to remember, that Cuba is a sovereign country. And when the Soviets put nuclear weapons in Cuba, it almost caused a nuclear war.
Yeah.
And I could say Cuba is a sovereign country. They have every right to put a missile in your own country, but that's not how the world works. And we fail to come to grips with how the world works. And one of the reasons why I think you are so necessary, and I support your program so much, you're one of the few of us who understands how the world works, and you try to explain how the world works.
Well, I don't know if I know anything, but I am old enough to realize that it's a complicated world, and you got to play the game, or you're gonna get squeezed.
And because when you analyze the football, and I keep on telling you, Kranky, the football situation is not too different from how Jamaica is run overall. I remember I was speaking to a gentleman from, I think, Malawi, right? I used to work with him. And one day he said to me, if you want to know how a country runs, look at their team sport. I never forget that. He said he can look at how a soccer team plays and how the FA is organized and tell exactly how that country runs in other department. The way all the JFF operates that's what Jamaicans are.
Once again, Crispy. They determined China played the game. They outsmarted the US. China played the game. China became the world manufacturing center. They enabled the US to send all manufacturing to them. They create a self-sufficiency by 2025. They play the game. They play the game differently. The game is not the same game for everybody. The game changes based on where you are, what you do, and what your population size is, right? India's democracy in India hurt India, which seemed like a contradiction. But in China, where you have autocracy, you can do certain things, right? They play the game really well. 1 second, Crispy. You know what China did really well? If you want to get access to the country, parts of the economy, you have to give the secrets that you have. You have to give them the secrets, and they use the secrets against you eventually. But if you want access to that population of almost 5 billion now, you have to give in your trade secrets. You have to give up a lot of stuff. You have to manufacture in their country. You can't do this. They have their rules. They change the rules at every second. I used to go to China on business. And what happens is you end up not necessarily where you want to be, but you had no choice. You had to play because a big market and everybody want to be in that market. So to play my market, you got to give up certain things. Jamaica is a very small country. It's 3 million. It's not even 3 million yet. But Jamaica is lucky because we have expats who support the island but don't get any benefit from it in terms of how we're treated. And also, a lot of U.S. people like to go to the island because it's a great place to go vacation. But at some point, as Chris P is saying, you're going to pay the piper when the U.S. say, you know what, you can't go to Jamaica to vacation anymore. You got to go someplace because you know what, we don't like the country.
You talk about China, and China is not the communism. You see, I can learn from everybody without taking everything. At heart, I am a free market person. I believe in free markets. But I am not afraid to learn from China. You understand? And for example, when I look at Venezuela, right? I think Venezuela has taken the wrong approach. I think Venezuela should have, before Hugo Chavez kicked out Exxon and all those American companies, he should have let them remain there, built up Venezuela's economy, built up the military, acquired missiles that can reach Florida, that can reach Washington, and then he moved, then made that move. But you can't be a poor country and go up against the United States. It's not going to work.
No, I think what Chavez did actually is he manipulated the poor for his own personal purpose. He went up against Goliath, and Goliath's going to squeeze you because he control world markets and trade. And he thinks he had the ability with his oil and other things. He wasn't the smartest person, and he thought he was smart. Sometimes you think you're smarter than you really are.
I agree.
As you said before, he didn't know how to play the game, and he got squeezed.
And the current president is equally not smart.
Because he's about himself. They're not about the country, they're about themselves.
Yeah, because the Chinese, they buy their time. They build up their economic prowess, and they acquire certain skills that cannot be replicated easily elsewhere. You know what I mean? So they are something to go up against the United States with. You know? So yes, Jamaica's economy is chiefly our fault. I can talk about family values, or our families are structured. The father's not in the home. Those things are our fault as well. We are the one who, a song and, a culture promote man fi have enough girl. And in my grandfather generation, the more children they had, the better, and women look at them in a positive light. These are attitudes that we develop on our own.
Yeah, that's not a Jamaica problem though. I gotta be very careful on this. That's a black people problem. I'm sorry, but I think if you look, India's divorce rate is 1%, right? And they have arranged marriages. Now, I'm not saying people should stay in marriages that they don't want to stay in.
Home water filtration system
a bunch
costs,
of people,
including
kids,
installation.
they can't support the kids, and then one parent household.
Affordable water filtration systems from the
if you have a
makers of
two-parent household, you have much better
These
chance of success
systems can
than
reduce
one-parent household.
microplastics,
I
harmful
forgot what the percentage was, but it's a ridiculous percentage of
Plus, they can be
black
installed
women,
in one day.
whether Jamaica or the US, whatever, in one parent. It's a ridiculous amount of one-parent household. That does destroy the family. It's crazy.
In Jamaica, it's 84%, and in the United States, it's 70%. And I saw a stat that said, in America, for example, a black child in a two-parent household end up more successful than a white child in a one-parent household.
Say it again?
In America.
Yeah, that's not surprising. I got it. That's not surprising.
On average, not everyone in the main, not everyone in the main, a black child who was raised by two parents in a loving home, on average, turned out more successful in life than a white child in a one-parent home. And also, in America, when they control for single-parent home with a single mother, the crime rate is the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's a big problem. That's self-inflicted.
I mean, self-inflicted is an interesting word to use when you're doing this because it's a population in general, and it's more about individual decisions, right? So I do think that's cultural. And the question is, how does one change culture? Because Caucasians do the same thing that blacks do in a lot of instances, except they go to the doctor more. They have more resources to get abortions, frankly. Let's be fair about that. Be frank about that. It's not promiscuity cuts across races in the US. It's about who have resources or who culturally will say, you know what, I don't want a kid, and we'll get rid of it, versus one who may say, culturally, I want to have the kid. So we got to be very careful with that. That is not just about promiscuity. It's about people choose to live. But the marriage thing, you're right on in terms of for different races, the percentages are materially different across the board. I think I did a show on this once, actually, talking about this with stats. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. And it's not going to change, by the way. It's not changing.
Because in Jamaica, for example, you have other ethnicities in Jamaica, and when you look, you see the mom and the dad in the home. When you go to Mr. Chin shop, you see Miss Chin, Mr. Chin, and you see that the children in the zone market. So we are people living among us, and they do not practice the same culture, and you see the outcome.
Yeah. Anyway, Crispy, I gotta go soon. It's a good conversation, but I gotta go soon. I've been on this show for like 2.5 hours, and I was on here for about 5 hours yesterday.
You said something that I want to touch on before I go, and I think this is another thing that we have to come to grips with. I do not think these problems are going to be solved by our leaders.
No, I think people got to solve their own problem.
No. I am talking about the big issues that require.
Oh, you mean issues that require leadership or governmental change?
Yes, I don't. Black people are not blessed with many visionary leaders who are selfless, like a Lee Kuan Yew of Singapore.
But Lee Kuan Yew was an autocrat, isn't he?
I know.
All the countries that have made significant advances in the last 30 years have been mainly autocrats.
You're correct.
So, but we don't want. But we can't live in an autocratic society. That's not what we do. El Salvador solved this crime problem by locking up anybody who look like they may want to commit crime, whether they commit it or not. Right? They solved the crime problem. Yeah.
I remember, I started a discussion saying that we do not live in the real world. We are not willing to look at what works. I have said that, and it comes back to that. We are not willing to do what works. You know what I mean? And I am, like I said before, I am a drop-down free market person. But however, I believe in doing what works.
We got to be careful with that, because when you start intruding on people's individual freedom, I understand it is a cost benefit, right, to making any other decision. So do you want to give up some freedom for more autocracy, like we're seeing in the US? Or you say, you know what? We want a free society. I'm an individual. I want to live my way. So long as I'm not intruding on society or doing something detrimental to society, why would I want you to intrude in my life?
You're correct. That is a cost, but there's also a cost benefit that I love. I prefer to live in a free society, but there's a cost benefit as well.
No, I don't disagree with the cost benefit, but I'm not willing to pay that cost. I'm not. Because then I wouldn't be able to come here and talk free as I want to talk. I'll be muzzled, and I wouldn't be able to deal with that. I have to leave. I don't want to be muzzled. I want to call out things that I see. And in Jamaica, what they have done is to muzzle people is that defamation law they have. You can't say anything against a politician nowadays. You can't say anything against anybody in Jamaica. They run to court and want to sue you and take your resources.
Yes, and what I find ridiculous about that defamation law is that law was given to us by our former colonialists. And we have not gotten rid of it. And we like to talk about this and that and colonialism, but there are things about colonialism that we adapt and we love. You know what I mean? We don't want to give up on that law. Because that law, defamation laws in general, only protects people of influence from the common man.
Yep.
Because if two neighbors are arguing.
But I wouldn't say only protect that, but the way the Jamaican, it depends on the law is written. The way the law is written, like in the US, you can say Trump is corrupt and he's a public official, and people are like, oh, okay. And you probably don't even have evidence. You can't, if you say that about Brogard, you can go to jail.
Because personally for me, I don't think libel laws are just. And because people talk about protect your reputation, right? But you don't own your reputation, because a public person can have a reputation that's fake. So should that public person protect that fake reputation?
Yeah, I mean, you can be libelous in terms of, as you saw with Fox and Dominion, when you make untrue statements and you know they're untrue and you're just doing it to generate views or whatever. But I do think that sometimes you want to call out the politicians thing they're doing, and in Jamaica, you can get sued for anything and actually lose, even if there's credence of truth to it. So yeah, but I'm gonna go. I see Crispy seat. Somebody has to call me now. People, I'm gonna leave. I gotta go. Somebody's calling me, but I'm not gonna pick it up. I apologize, but I have to go. It's time. I'm on for almost 3 hours.
How can I contact you to share some ideas?
Link me tomorrow on the same number. All right.
Like privately, just call you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll call you tomorrow.
All right, cool.
All right, bye.
Good night, everybody. First of all, I want to say, people, good night, everybody. First of all, I want to say I hope everybody in Jamaica is safe. As you can see, Kingston seemed to be okay. And hopefully that remains the same. I'm not taking any more calls, people. I'm tired. I'm sorry. I'm not taking any more calls. Show done. Let me just say show done. Sorry. But I hope your loved ones are safe. I have not been able to get in touch with my family in Montego Bay. I don't know what happens. Or in that region, not sure what happens. I guess they're cut off. I have to find a way to do so. Hopefully they can get to some kind of phone to text me or something. I think they should be okay given where they live and given the structure they live in, but you never know, because this hurricane is not playing. Less than 12 seconds, bro. Good fine. Yeah. I need Jerry talk. What are you talking about? I was on the phone. I was on line yesterday for 5+ hours. I was on this channel for. And today I came on at 2:45. It's 5:30. What do you guys? What do you guys beat me about getting off? I gotta. It's not. I can't do these telethon things. I'm seasoned. I'm seasoned. On the same one, 2 minutes. All right, I'll give you 2 minutes. 2 minutes and literally 2 minutes, people. Call back. 2 minutes. I get literally 2 minutes. 2 minutes. See that? I'll call it back. 2 minutes. I get, and then we're gone, people. We're done. 2 minutes starting now. Hello. 2 minutes starting now. Hello.
All right, hey, Kranky, look here. I'm not
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Okay.
2 minutes. Hey, man, you know, I have no empathy, no. You know, I have no empathy, I have sympathy, no.
No, man. I'm free up for the people in Jamaica.
All right.
Beyond that, a good conversation, yeah, the man Chris was have a while ago.
I know. We do have more of that.
But there's a thing, you know. Do you know that being educated also confuse people? Because once you get too smart, you know, it's like sometimes the information is just too much for the brain.
Okay.
And you start hem and ha. Would you agree with that?
I don't think you get too educated. I think sometimes your perspective may differ from others. Put it that way. Or sometimes your learnings and my learnings may not align, or your ideology and my ideology don't align. We have different way of thinking about things, right? So,
and it leads to confusion.
And it leads to challenging situations, yes.
All right. But let me tell you, you know, and the conversation that you're having with the brethren, it's pretty simple. And this is how me break it down. We got caught up to Jamaica because the king did rule from 1940s. We would never have self-determination. We were a colonial power. Right. So we never make no decisions. But you see, after World War II, we start trying to find our own independent ways as a country. And we just never, ever got it right. You understand? We have the biggest bodies. I demand them win World War II, you know. England wouldn't win World War II without America, you know.
No, that's true. That's true.
America stepped in. They became the biggest and baddest boy them on the block.
Yep.
And those people, that country is what, 1,000, 2,000 miles off our shores?
Probably a little bit less, but close.
All right.
Yeah.
Where do we get majority of our tourists from?
Of course, the U.S. controls Jamaica.
All right.
U.S. controls Jamaica.
Where do we get most of our goods and services from?
Ever wondered what your home looks like from
space? Sorry, hold on.
Enter your address and get a 360-degree satellite view of your home.
Go on. I don't mean that at somebody's channel. I don't my channel that.
It's all good.
No, but me don't get no advertisement by my channel. I know my channel that. Go on.
So listen now. So when the two friend them decide to become frenemy after World War II, because the man them did this side by side, you know.
Yeah.
The man them fight to get rid of a man, you know.
Yep.
And then after them capture, what them a capture, you know, man start fight over, as my boy Mutty, God rest his soul, used to say. Them start fight over the skills, benefit and spoil, you know, which was the technology that Germany had. Everybody start grab some scientists and throw them behind for them wall, and US grab some man and throw them in America, and them start fight for the jet technology. So everybody start frenemy business. So let me ask you this now, Kranky. In the 60s, when time Russia did decide to bring in the missile, come put right on America doorstep in Cuba, you think America was going to say it's okay?
No, we know that's what you hear with Ukraine and Russia now, right? Which is
exactly.
You're on my doorstep with NATO. I mean, I have that. So.
Exactly. That was a big problem with Turkey too, you know.
Yeah.
Turkey, because the US put a base right in a Turkey, and that's why even right that's up on the Black Sea and Ukraine, as you just said a while ago, the whole of that little sea there, because Russia have the whole of them nuclear ship them come out of the port there, and the man them want to stand up on the land and say, well, go on to Russia and say, hell no. Which is the same thing that happened with Cuba back in the 60s. And as the brethren say, well, you know what Jamaica should say, yo, boy, a two big bull fight, you know, I can't get involved in that, you know.
Yeah.
Because anyway me go lose. Because at that point in time, Russia was trying to control Central America with the Sandinista and everything, and all of the South American country them was going into the whole dictator thing, and America look on it and say, yo, I want to go on. Oh, circle me. So now if I really had to choose, Kranky, and this is just me, and I had to pick one of the bull them to side with, you know which one me I pick? The one closest to my shore, you know.
Yep, that makes sense. Because even if you don't like the bull, you still have to pick the one closer to your shore.
Because of them we go benefit from the most.
Yeah.
So I believe the country made a bad decision, and they decide, instead of siding with the bull where they ride on them black, them decide to go up toe to toe and poor little Jamaica. You think that Jamaica can't even go up against Florida? You cannot do that.
Yeah, Manly went to school with a bunch of idealists. Whether it's in London, they all went to the same school. They all came up with the same idealism about life. And it was the right idea in terms of trying to provide for the masses. It was a wrong strategy about how you go about accomplishing that.
I agree 100%. Because you see, even now the gun thing where you were talking about earlier,
yeah,
everybody knows it. That was just like, look here. You see, in a war, all fear it, them saying love and war, you know. And if this man feels that the Russian them are coming in a Cuba, and Cuba and Jamaica are friends, that means that the Russian, you remember, so we used to have Lada, Jamaica, you know, Lada come from Russia, you know.
Yep. They weren't good. They weren't good either. They were poor. They were poorly made.
Of course. No, what would you prefer to have driven? A nice Ford Taurus or a Lincoln Continental?
No, don't call Taurus. Don't say nice Ford Taurus. That's an oxymoron. Say something else. Say a Cadillac. Say a Cadillac. Cadillac. Yes. Those are Taurus.
A lot of never even have power steering and power brake.
Yeah. A lot of us terribly make car.
I remember the man them used to wear the little Fidel at them back in the days. how does that look? Look here. It's all geopolitical things, Kranky. And we made a mistake, and we can still recover.
Wait. No. It set us back about 30 years.
Yeah. Me remember when time me a boy, you know. And hey, when time me a pass betting shop, you know, and the big man them all a dash with some little quatty and some little fad and all of them things, you know. Me a little boy, I see all them things, then all a shilling drop. It's a ratty jazz, nice. But you see, in the early 70s, when time the man them change it over to dollar, you know, say the average, a lot of them little youth you know Jamaica don't know, say the Jamaican money it's stronger than the American money, you know.
Yep, it was. If you do history, you'll realize that it was stronger than American money. It was stronger than American money. I mean, so it shows you how backwards Jamaica went. 155 to 1 when it was like, what was it, 80 cents Jamaica to $1 US or something like that?
Me say when you go to Jamaica, because when time me left foreign and me go to Jamaica with American money, me I get less Jamaican money than the $1. Remember me more Jamaican money for the $1.
Yeah.
You understand? And when time me I buy all a little stick or something, boy, me say, what me still all have change left. And then all of a sudden, the 70s, it just starts slide. Till how are we there now? 150 something to 1?
Yep. Because, you know why? Because Jamaica don't have no economy. I would say no economy. Because as Chris P says, the Jamaican economy is not the most well-built economy. It's not a diverse economy. And it doesn't have in the economy what it needs to make it something where, you know, going forward, you can say, you know what? We're going to be great for the future. You can't depend on services and remittances as the major part of the economy. I'm sorry. That's a recipe for disaster.
So what was it that we could have done to put ourselves in our position to make them man they want
So what we should have done is did what Singapore did. Focus on STEM. Singapore was a benchmark for any, and Singapore doesn't even have the resources that we do.
They never had no water. Singapore no water.
Yeah.
You know what Singapore had? The port, the water, the port, and the shit them have to come in and the man say, yo, I'm going to make money off of that, you know.
Yeah.
You know that we could have done the same because we were that hub. Jamaica used to run the whole of the freaking Caribbean. We were where the governor sit down. We were the headquarters for like the whole of the Caribbean. And the man
when your leadership is when the population, you gotta educate your population, like real education, not a superficial education. If you educate the population, people are gonna make decisions which may be contrary to government and allow the economy to boom because you're gonna be entrepreneurship that allows it to happen. If you rely upon government a lot, government is influential, and the elites just want to pocket all the money for themselves and travel when they want to and don't give a damn about everybody else, you're gonna have what we have. Now the question
is why I started, you know, about the education thing, you know, and it can make man fool, you know, because I think some people they get punch drunk, you know. You know, you get so educated that you think so you're smarter than the average beer. You understand?
Yeah. No, I understand. So, but we got 10 minutes. We got 10 minutes. So we give 2 and you take 5 times the 2. Make you 5. So you take. You see that people give 2 and get 5 times the 2.
Last thing. China.
Oh man.
1970s. Richard Nixon, because China was a close thing, and Richard Nixon said, yo, we need them people over there, so because 1 billion, 2 billion people. Boy, you know much American stuff we can sell over there, so. And the man, Amo, I think Amo was there at the time. Amo, come in, man. And the man, you remember the big meeting? You had the big enough youth at the time.
Yeah.
And the man fly go over there and then open up China. And China say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to learn all of your secret. Everything I'm going to learn, everything I'm going to friend you up. And this goes back to our old saying. Do you learn more from a friend or an enemy?
You probably learn more from an enemy.
Yeah, but guess what? You see when time you're a man a friend and them tell you all I'm secret them, you can use all I'm secret them against him, you know. If you're an enemy, you know, Kranky, he not tell you nothing, you know.
That's probably true.
You understand? And that China though, China go on like say them a friend up the US, the whole of them here there. And in the meantime, you know what China was do? Take away everything, all of them secret, all of them trade information.
Yeah, but that's not a friend though. It's not a true friend. I thought you were talking about a true friend versus a true enemy. Right? It's not a true friend. It's a frenemy. It's not a friend.
So hold on. So then that white man do to black man. No, that white man they do when time them come at the shore of Africa. Oh man, you guys are so nice. Where those marbles that you got? Those marbles look so nice. The man say, oh come on, let me show you in the cave. and bring them go show them the whole of the gold and diamond. Once them show the white man them thing, the white man do to black man. Shut them up, take away the thing, them throw up on boat and then chuckle up the black man and put them on ship. Isn't that what happened?
Yeah, we are a lost race.
Look here, let me tell you in the country.
We're a lost race. We're a lost. I think gonna get no better.
You know, you said something, about learning how to play the game.
Yeah.
As a people, black people, not as a Trinidadian or a Jamaican or African or whatever. You see, as a people, as black people, we have to learn how to play this game. Because these people, white people who have a different pursuit, and not all white people, don't get me wrong, because, they're good people and there's bad people. But on a whole, you have some white folks out there that just want to get close to you for suck out everything what you have and then they kick you to the curb. You know what the old saying is? I made you, I took you up out of the ghetto and I gave you everything, and you ever joke yourself, I kick you to the curb and pull everything from you and send you back to the ghetto where you come from. That's how the game is played,
No, I think for us to play the game, we have to change our culture, and that's kind of hard to do. The hardest thing to do, and what do I mean by changing your culture? So let's think about it this way, which is, if you hear, I'm going to use a sports analogy. If you hear Maverick talking about Greenwood, himself, Greenwood for Gue, right? We know, but I'm making a point, though. So we have to go hard to make our point. We have to go hard.
True.
We have to destroy to make our point. You can make your point without going hard, You can make a point without trying to prove to everybody how tough and bad you are, I used to have a boss way back when. He used to say everything he said, he always say, I agree. And then he said, but. And I always laugh at him and say, you see, you agree, but you have to me, but. But what he do is he knock down your defense. He make you feel comfortable. He make it a win-win situation. You don't make it get defensive, right? If I say I agree with you, I feel good. Don't say, but X, Y, Z. You notice I don't do that as much as he did because I didn't really tell him. But culturally, it's hard for me to do that. Culture is hard for us to do that. You're wrong. I'm going to tell you you're wrong. I'm going to in your face. I have to kick you and punch you that you're wrong, right? While some people just say, oh, you know what? Let me just break down his defense. Then he'll be more receptive to me. Then we can have the conversation. We're not saying I agree with you. You're wrong. You're an idiot. Go away. That's what we say. It's cultural and it's hard to change.
It's very hard to change because it's the Jamaican people on a whole. We're very strong, and we like speak with mind.
Yeah. The man say, see them say that culturally you just con me. You get about 20 minutes when you say you go take 2 minutes.
So anyway,
do you really want to make your holiday special? Tanzania has got so much to offer.
Good conversation.
I appreciate it. Anyway, all your people in back in Hanover because don't get the lick,
No, they move from Hanover and then they St. James, but the problem is when them live though. So they live in a place where they're on like a hill, and the houses, the structure is really good. And the roof is mainly concrete except for maybe one portion of it. So I would anticipate that they were pretty good. Hope. Well, they have more than hope. I mean, they've been through different hurricanes and never had an issue, like not even a little issue. So if history repeats itself, I know if history repeats itself, they're okay. So I've been trying to call no answer. I'm not as concerned as some may be, but I am concerned enough to say we need to hear from you.
Don't be concerned about that. Don't because we have people at the St. James area as well.
Yeah.
What has happened is me here say the whole of the phone line them gone down because me all try to tap up a card and it won't even go through.
Okay.
So it look like the whole of the phone line them down. So we just have to wait now till that come up. But we still say a prayer for them and the family because they are all we have.
Yeah.
And we'll just hope the best. And I'm hoping that there is not too much loss of life. But from what I say, Kranky, I think
it's not good. It's not good.
Yeah,
I mean, if you look at what happened in St. Elizabeth, people where rules have been taken. So when the roof get come off, what you do? When the roof get taken off, what you do?
I don't. And at the hospital too, all hospital, school, all kind of things that go on,
Yeah.
So make us start pack up some barrel, brother.
All right. Bless up, everyone.
Right.
Yeah, man. Bless up, Jamaica vibes.
Jamaica.
Yeah, man. Bless up, everyone.
All right.
Thanks for joining me. Thanks for being here. I truly appreciate you. You're right, DJ Fatal. I am trying to bifurcate the channels and make this a sports channel, at least Kranky Live. Balance views on today too, by the way, people. YouTube should allow you to do both channels, so I'm doing both. But these conversations are balanced view conversation, and I'm going to bifurcate the channel eventually and just do sports on Kranky Live and balanced view. I'm working on it. I don't have any Starlink connection. The only person I know with Starlink is Odell, and Odell is not on, I think. Odell probably got tired, but not gonna did. And he's Odell's from the US, but he's in Jamaica. I know he has Starlink, but I think that some people have Starlink in Jamaica, and I could have seen it. But my people don't have Starlink. I'm gonna go to the regular phone company. But anyway, everyone, have a good afternoon, have a good evening. There you go, Kranky. You're a lost race. The matter of you and the island do not know who you are. Okay, 12 tribes of Israel. I'm sure you do. And hopefully, I can't. If you're really just with me, can't talk to you. Can't talk to you 12 tribes. But anyway, you have Starlink, Jay, so you're good. If you have Starlink, you're good. I can't support Musk, so I can't talk about Musk. But Starlink is a great thing to have. The Ukrainian army can tell you the same thing. But peace out, people. Have a good evening, and I'll see you when I see you. I see you when I see you. Bless out. Bye.